you guys don't tell anybody this. Don't tell anybody. But the fee was $200 when they made the rule in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
In the 30s, $200 was a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And they haven't updated the fee, but don't tell anybody. I'm Ryan Gresham, and this is Gun Talk Nation. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Aero Precision, Ruger, Range Ready, SDS Imports, and Rossi. All right, welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today on the show, Eric Suarez. Welcome in, man.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So you work with Meprolight now. You've been in the gun industry for a bit. Just give people, a backstory of how'd you get into this whole thing?
Yeah, so guns have always been a part of my life since I can remember. My dad was a hunter. He spent time in the military, and just growing up, we've always had guns around.
Yeah.
So if you ask my younger brother, he'll always tell you that I always had like the book, The Ultimate Sniper, around and would just be reading on the topic. So 17 came around. I had some things go on in high school and just sort of decided that I wasn't going to go to college. It wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. And joined the military. So joined the Marine Corps at 17, wound up retiring in 2016 at just over 18 years.
Oh, wow. You weren't a hobbyist in the military. You were like for real in it.
Yeah, I mean...
You're not there for the 4 years of free college or whatever?
No, and at the time I went in 98. No one was really... There was no wartime then. So
yeah.
People weren't really thinking about free college.
Then
it was
3 years later, everything changed. It got serious?
It did. And then... but it was fun. I mean, you learn more about yourself in a short amount of time than ever. Being able to lead people in combat at, say, 19, 20 years old, 21. Yeah. It's not something that I just did, but tens of thousands of other people in the Army, Marine Corps that did as well. So you grow up quick, or you find out that you're not cut for it and it's time for you to go. So.
Right. Yeah. I like the cut and dryness of that. It's, it's kind of like this is or is not for you, and figure it out and either do awesome or move on. Yeah.
And I always had, me and my wife now, we've been together for almost 25 years. And it's one of those things that each enlistment, I just took it as it came. So if it wasn't fun anymore, I always had to plan to get out.
Yeah.
If the plan was never to stay past 20. So I wound up getting injured, had some things happen in 2013, 2014, had a bunch of surgeries. And then they asked me, hey, you can stay in for your last 2 years, make it to 20 and retire, or you take the early retirement now. And it wasn't fun anymore. So It was time to turn it in and move on with life.
Yeah. So currently you work with Meprolight and sales and marketing?
Yeah, so I'm the director of marketing and also handle a lot of the mill and LE sales and OEM sales as well for them.
And we started working together when you were at Remington.
Correct.
Right? So just kind of that's the backstory. I mean, Meprolight... you guys are here kicking off season 16 of Guns and Gear, which is awesome. I think it's an interesting story. That company has an interesting story, and it's worth talking about.
Yeah, so when Remington went through it's still going through its dark stages, I think, and closed down, I was really trying to find myself and what I wanted to do within the industry. The firearms industry is something that I didn't move to Huntsville to work for Remington. I just happened to have family and support there on my wife's side and happened to get a job there. So after I was in the firearms industry 4 or 5 years, I knew that that's the home I wanted to be in. I didn't want to branch back out.
Not very many people leave the firearms industry.
No, I don't think a lot of us would be cut out for other corporate jobs. So Meprolight came along as an opportunity, and I actually contracted for them for a year doing social media and other marketing aspects before they had me come on full time. But the history just steeped in military tradition, honestly. Obviously, it matches up to where I came from in life. Be able to support the warfighter, whether in Israel or the U.S. warfighter, the law enforcement side, and just to bring products to market that A, makes sense, and B, something that we don't need to spin a story and market, that it was true to the heart, and pretty much given us a blank slate to form Meprolight within the U.S. with the new products that we have coming out.
So when people, a lot of people listening to this podcast are gun enthusiasts, shooting, hunting, whatever it may be, and they know a lot of brands in this world, what would you say people think of Meprolight for? and what do they maybe not realize about Meprolight?
I think a lot of people do associate Meprolight and IWI, who's a sister company of ours. They do understand that, or are familiar with us doing tritium work on pistols and things of that nature and supporting the IDF. A lot of people don't know how Meprolight started, and it is a cool story. I know you and I went over some of the facts earlier today, but Meprolight really started as an Israeli company that the Defense Force came to them and asked for some help. So Meprolight was doing some work on the tritium side back in the late 90s or mid 90s, really. And the IDF came to them, or the government came to them and said, hey, we have some specific needs. Can you help us? So it started out with tritium in mortar sites that they were using. Obviously, shooting mortars at night is a challenge. So having tritium within the bubble level and other things to help them sight. And then that grew.
You don't want to turn on a flashlight while you're out there in battle?
Conceivably not. So it was a good visual aid. Then it kind of grew into tritium within nose cones of refueling aircraft. So the aircraft that needed to be fueled could then catch the basket, so to speak. Nowadays, it's 100% computerized.
Yeah. Both
planes pretty much go on autopilot, or the software and computers take over, and it's done. Back then, in order to catch the basket, the tritium helped them do that. And then the third big thing that really got Meprolight into the defense side was in tanks. So over there in Israel, anyone that's ever been in a tank knows that it's dark and everything wants to kill you within a tank. The loaders were using tritium on the bottom of the trays to identify that they were out of rounds and they needed to be replenished. So those are the three big projects that Meprolight started with, and then it grew into the M21 and then onto the M5 Pro V2, what we call here, and it's just kind of grown since then.
Yeah. So, I mean, Israeli-based company, and even before this latest thing really popped off last year with Israel and Gaza Strip and all that stuff. I think people know there's a different mindset for people in Israel when we think about defensive use of gear and firearms and being ready. Talk about how that kind of affects Meprolight and how you guys approach things.
Yeah, so here in the U.S., our two borders are Canada and Mexico. Not really ever felt threatened from either country invading us, per se. Kind of that Red Dawn kind of movie theme. But in Israel, they do. I mean, they're surrounded by individuals and countries and actors that do not like them. So Israel, you go into the Bible and everything else, Israel, obviously, as the land has been around for a very long time, but as a country, did not become a country till 1947.
Right.
So still from 1947 to today, they're not looking inwards. They have to look externally and constantly be vigilant on, okay, are these two gonna get together and try to attack us on this front? Or
it's just a different mindset. I mean, thinking about being ready, it's perhaps I don't know if this works, but if you live in I don't know, rural Missouri, your height of readiness may be a little bit different than if you live in an apartment in downtown Detroit.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like you have that, even your baseline readiness is like, no, I'm at like a yellow already, perhaps.
Absolutely. It's definitely a mindset. In the same way, I live in North Alabama, but if I'm going through Memphis or Montgomery or one of those cities, just like you said, there's different levels to, okay, what do I have on me? What do I have to get to?
Yep.
And first aid, the whole synopsis comes into, okay, how prepared am I in the event something happens?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that approach is what you guys do with the optics.
Correct.
I mean, how you test them, how you develop them, all that stuff.
Yeah. Cause at the end of the day, that optic is going to a family member. It's just the reality of where it is. So everybody,
especially these days, right?
Absolutely. So we have individuals who they were all served their time. They're 2 years and some stayed longer. Right now we have our R&D VP, Teddy. He's been deployed since October, since it kicked off. We have another gentleman who is on the special operations side as a reservist, and he is gone for 2 weeks and he'll come back for 2 weeks and then gone for 2 weeks. So it's no longer, just, hey, we're just providing optics to make money as a business.
Right.
It really is, an optic is a life, because you don't know if your cousin's going to get it, your brother, your sister,
sure,
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely changes the way you approach things when you say this is going to be going on a gun. It's not just for goofs. We're not just shooting soda cans here.
Yeah, and even goes into the development. So when we came up with the idea for our MPO line, we didn't want to come out to the commercial market and just say, here's another Me Too. Here's just a red dot with the Meprolight name on it. It was important for us to think about things of not supporting China. So none of our optics come from China.
Interesting. Okay.
In these 6, 1 does because we couldn't get away from it. The other 5 do not.
Okay.
And that will be moved within the next 18 months out of there as well.
Yeah.
But not supporting individuals that are state actors, the other side of things. Looking at them and saying, hey, we need a pro line, which is why we came out with the Pro Series, which are enclosed, because we know that professionals are going to use our product. So that is in the forefront of our minds, even throughout the R&D stages.
Let me ask you, so you guys have a lot of your optics are being used in combat, right?
Yes.
Do you have any feedback? I mean, this is now where it's like, unfortunately, it's a bad situation. Nobody wants to be in combat and be at war at all. But what a testing ground to have all those in use, in hard use. Are you guys getting any feedback or stories from real world uses of your products?
Yeah, and some of it we haven't really put out because it's, again, not something that we just want to broadcast or use to our marketing benefits, if you will.
Yeah.
But within our internal teams between Israel and us, they send us videos and photos all the time of assault in an IDF soldier. I don't know who I was telling, maybe it was KJ earlier, but this IDF soldier entering a second-story building house and is by himself clearing this whole area, and it comes up against 2 fighters. So he happens to be using a More Pro. More Pro is similar to an M21 where it's battery free. However, it has integrated lasers, visible and IR lasers built into it as one platform. So
on a rifle?
Yeah, and the whole optic is maybe 6.5, 7 inches.
Okay.
So he comes through, two insurgents are on the other side of the door. A fierce gun battle starts, and then you see the grenade come out. So I don't know how, give this guy all the credit in the world. He pretty much ate the grenade.
I mean, they threw a grenade at him.
Yep, it explodes. You can see it in the video. And then the next thing you know is you see the Mepro coming right back into it, and the soldier went in there and handled both insurgents.
Wow.
So it's kind of incredible, but it does give us some internal pride just seeing those photos all the time of, it's just not one. We have More Pros. We have True Visions, M5s, which we call the RDS Pro V2 here in the U.S., M22s, M21s are going out.
Are they using the magnifiers as well?
The magnifiers are brand new, so they're using the older magnifiers, but they are starting to get fielded, the new magnifiers that we just released. What else? The Sting, the laser pointer that was on the rifle we shot earlier today, that's ours as well.
Okay.
So that's being used. And then we have a grenade launcher sight that's tritium and fiber optic that takes no batteries that is also in use. So when you look at our whole portfolio of products, they are all being fielded over there for their use.
That's wild. Yeah. It's a great test bed.
Yeah. For better or worse.
It's not really what you would want, but it's a great test bed, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's what the company was founded on. IWI is our sister company owned by Sammy Katzoff as well. Same thing. IWI weapons platforms are being used over there every day and have been. So
yeah, big time.
Yeah. So
after we're going to do a little quick break, come back. I want to talk about the other shooting that you like to do, long range.
Long range.
Ooh, that's a good looking rifle. Sometimes when I'm pulling up my reads and doing my research for these, you go, whoa, look at that thing. The Ruger American Rifle Generation 2 Predator model sports a burnt bronze Cerakote finish and fitted to a green stock with black and bronze splatter texture, 22-inch barrels. The Cerakote looks awesome with a kind of spiral flute on it. The Gen 2 stock, which is adjustable for length of pull and comb height. The splatter finish looks good, also provides some grippiness to it. And you can get it in 6.5, 308, 7mm Mod 8, 243, 204 Ruger, 6mm Creedmoor, and more. So go check it out, Ruger.com. Hey, go over to gundealio.com if you like saving money on your guns, ammo, optics, all your shooting gear. Trigger the deals with Gun Dealio. Sign up for our daily deals email at gundealio.com. We have smoking deals. We got a guy. His name's Nick. He's always looking for deals. He's a gun guy, gun nerd, and he is scouring the internet, and we send out our best deals every single day. So go over to gundealio.com, sign up for the email alerts, and save money. Military Armament Corporation, which is part of SDS Imports, MAC. Well, they've got a new one, the MAC 5 pistol, and if you look at it, it's going to look very similar to something called an MP5. Ooh, 9mm little carbine. They also have a K version, which is a little bit shorter. But when you look at this MAC 5 pistol, you are going to be shocked by the price. Because if you're familiar with the OG HK, there's more dollars in that price tag. So go check them out. It's Mill Armament Corp. Military Armament Corporation, or MAC. millarmamentcorp.com. So you have an AR, or maybe you have a bunch like me, and maybe you don't love that AR. Maybe there's some configuration thing about it you don't love, or you just want to try something different. Well, go over to ballisticadvantage.com. That is a great place to start. And I was kind of poking around looking at their barrels. It's one of the things they're really known for is barrels. You can get shorter barrels for like a pistol AR, 10-inch barrels, 10.3, but you can also get it in a ton of different calibers. 5.56, 300 blackout, 9mm, but also 6.5 Grendel, 6mm Arc, 350 Legend, 6.5 Creedmoor, 308. So a lot of different configurations, and you can swap that out on your existing AR. I promise you can do it. And then you're going to update it. You're going to love it. It's going to be more fun to shoot. So go check it out, ballisticadvantage.com. Rossi making a bunch of waves right now. I mean, everybody's talking about Rossi and the new guns they're bringing out. The one I'm looking at right now is the RP63. It's a revolver. It's 6 shots. It's .357 Magnum. It's also stainless steel, replaceable front sight, fixed rear sight, rubberized grip. Just a good, solid, 3-inch, .357 Magnum gun. Does have a hammer, so you can shoot it double action or single action. Could be a carry gun. Could be a great home defense gun. Could be a lot of things. And the price is pretty good. MSRP under $500, $469. So go check it out. RossiUSA.com. So Eric, you're one of these guys who works in the gun industry, but you're also like a gun guy.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, yep. Guilty. Yeah. So we were shooting pistols out there, and you're like, but really my thing lately has been precision rifle.
It has been.
How did you get this bug?
Coming from where I did in the military, it was always pistols and ARs, machine guns, this and that. When I got out and started working in the gun industry, when I got started with Remington, actually, it was building all the test prototypes and shooting them all the time. And I just got the precision long range bug. It was maybe for me, it was just something different outside of the norm. Not to say I'm an expert at ARs or an expert at pistols. I'm just good enough, because you always find people like Chris Serino and other guys running around. You're just like, holy crap, you made me feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But
human ransom rest. Yeah. That's what he is.
But on the precision side, it was something completely